Well, it begins. Donald Trump paid zero in taxes in 2020, claimed a $5 million refund. And the big picture of Trump's taxes that has come out based on a report we don't yet have the tax returns, but we have a report about the tax returns from the House Ways and Means Committee, is just about everything that we suspected, and we're going to talk about it. So let's start with the big picture data. Let's look at Trump's income, taxable income, and taxes paid over the last 6 years. In 2015, Trump reported an income loss of nearly $32 million, had zero taxable income, and paid $640,000 in taxes. In 2016, Trump says he lost $31 million, had zero taxable income, and paid $750, not $750,000, $750 in taxes. 2017, Trump claimed negative income of $13 million, paid $750 in taxes. In 2018, Trump claimed a taxable income of $23 million and paid about $1 million in taxes on that. 2019, Trump claimed about $3 million in taxable income and paid a little over $100K in taxes. And then in 2020, Trump reported a loss of nearly $5 million and paid 0.0 in federal taxes, claiming a refund of $5.47 million. There's a good CNBC write-up called "Read How Much Trump Paid or Didn't Pay in Taxes Each Year." It outlines the numbers that I just mentioned with a number of other elements, including that the tax returns we are ultimately going to get are redacted, and it may actually still be difficult to figure out how Trump got to these negative income claims, etc. The most important thing that I think is worth mentioning here is that most of this stuff is almost certainly legal. And what we're really getting to here is the failure of the IRS, despite all these claims that the IRS is predatory and they've got all these armed people, which they really did. They have very few armed people, and it's not a big deal that some of the people are armed. Despite all the claims about the IRS really has failed us, not even auditing Trump in his required automatic audit that presidents get, until they caught wind that Richard Neal in the House Ways and Means Committee was trying to obtain these tax returns. Then they said, oh, we'd better do that audit on Trump, which we were supposed to have done already for several years. So a few different aspects to this. Is it possible that Trump's taxes will expose crimes? Absolutely. They look like they would be along the fraud lines, stating different asset values for the same assets, depending on whether he's trying to avoid property taxes or personal taxes versus get a loan using those assets as collateral. We already suspect, and in fact, we know based on what happened, the ruling with Trump's business, 17 guilty counts, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. We already know that that was done at the business level, almost certainly being done at the personal level. The taxes will help to build that case. Are there potential national security issues as a result of some of the people Trump is in league with? Absolutely. The tax returns could very well expose that. But what's really important to understand is that Trump's not the only rich guy using the tax code in this way and, widely speaking, avoiding IRS scrutiny that would be appropriate for the relaxed application of the tax law that Trump and people like him use. So this is a story about Trump, but it's also a story about the tax code and a story about the IRS. Now, one question that you may have is, how do you go negative close to $100 million over 5 years in income and yet still live the lifestyle that Trump lives, with day-to-day expenses being so lavish and expensive, the private plane, all these different things? If you lose 30 million in a year, how do you also have a private plane and all this stuff? The answer is that you are asset rich. You are asset rich, and you can also, we don't fully know because we don't have the full tax returns yet, but you can borrow against the assets to have money with which to live that lavish lifestyle. And again, it is not unique to Trump. If anything good will come of this, it's that the Trump tax returns will expose the mechanisms that many rich people use in order to live lavish lifestyles but pay almost no taxes, or in some cases no taxes at all. You tell lenders that your assets are appreciating dramatically, and then they'll give you girthy, huge loans against those assets, which you can then use to live your lavish lifestyle. You tell the IRS, these very same assets are worth nothing. I lost money on these assets. Let me take a loss on them. Give me a tax refund. That's very generally speaking the name of the game. Then you live off of the loans. You use the lies to the IRS to claim a negative income while you're actually making millions, and then you get a tax refund as well. Now, if Donald Trump is actually as rich as he claims to be, these tax returns don't really make it look like Trump is super rich. If Trump is really as rich as he claims to be, there's almost certainly criminal level of fraud and avoidance that's going on here. The other possibility is Trump isn't actually nearly as rich as he claims to be. And we may or may not find that out. The reason Trump clearly fought so hard to keep his financial records from becoming public is because he seems to be the fraud. He seems to be not quite or nearly as rich as he claims to be, doing really sketchy stuff with asset values. We've given you the full list before, but the really important takeaway is it's not just Trump doing this stuff. And there's a question as to whether it's the tax code or the enforcement that's the problem. And I want to talk about the IRS component next. Plastic is everywhere we look, and not enough is being done about it. 100 billion plastic bags are used and thrown away every year, but you can help make a change. Our sponsor, Hold On, makes trash and kitchen bags that are heavy duty, plant-based, non-toxic, and 100% home compostable, which means they break down in weeks rather than decades. They don't fill up our landfills. They don't pollute our oceans. Their Zip Seal kitchen bags come in sandwich or gallon bag sizes to fit your needs. And the best part about Hold On bags is they work. I use them at home. They're just as good as all of the name brand bags. You fill them up, they stretch, and they don't break. Everybody uses trash bags and freezer bags. If you care about the planet, you can do something by using Hold On bags instead, and it's a really easy way to do your part. Go shop plant-based bags to replace single-use plastics all over your home. You'll save 20% when you go to holdonbags.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman. The link is down below.